While the U.S. and Canadian shippers are bracing for more disruptions to the supply chain. That's as a Canadian Pacific rail strike is set to begin at midnight. The rail line carries grain, potash, and coal and extends as far south as Kansas City. Thousands of workers are angry over low wages, benefits, and pensions. CP says the union has not given the required 72-hour notice, so they can't legally strike before Friday. Host of Real Ag Radio, Shaun Haney, joins us now with further perspective on the situation from across the border. Shaun, as always, thanks for your time here this morning. So what is the latest in the negotiations underway?
Yeah, Jenna, great to be with you here today. So you're correct. The negotiations continue. Today is the last scheduled day of the federal mediated sessions. So maybe some of this will come to a head today. There is that 72-hour notice that puts us into Saturday potentially for the beginning of a strike. We've heard from a lot of different farm groups and stakeholders that this would be just so ill-timed. Not saying the union's perspective or requests are unwarranted, but just the timing of this is just absolutely just so poor given what's happening around the world.
So how would the timing of this, of course, impact the industry both in the U.S. and also in Canada?
Yeah, I was really surprised at Commodity Classic last week how many U.S. Farm group stakeholders came up to me and asked about, what's going on with the CP rail strike potentially, which is kind of uncommon. You think about what's happening in the Ukraine right now and the Midwest's ability to get potash, for example, out of Russia and Belarus. It's not happening. So, Saskatchewan in Canada is a major producer of potash, and that's going to come by rail. And one of the railways going down with the strike would be incredibly ill-timed this close to planting. And on the other side of it, we had a drought in 2021 in Western Canada. So there is a ton of corn, like a lot of corn coming north out of the Midwest into places like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta. CP Rail has a bit of a geographical advantage on some of that corn, a little bit closer to the delivery point into places like Southern Alberta than their competitor CN. And we've been running on just in time already. I talked to Janice Tramberg, executive director at the Alberta Cattle Feeders. She said like a strike would be just days would be absolutely critical of the railway being shut down, as they only probably have about 2 weeks of excess feed in the market. So timing is of the essence here. Now,
Shaun, all things considered, is there any chance the Canadian government might intervene?
Well, that's what everybody's asking for, and everyone's kind of wondering. What sort of makes me a little bit more on the cynical side of them stepping in is that they've slow played this in the past. When CN had their last strike, there was a lot of asking for the government to intervene. It was a different time, but they really didn't. And there's a lot of votes on the union side for the federal Liberals. So I think they're going to really, really slow play it. I'd be surprised if they stepped in and gave back to work legislation. And like I said earlier, just a few days of a strike would just absolutely be really, really cause a lot of harm to the market. It's hard to catch up when we're talking about all these increased volumes going both north and south.
All right. Well, Shaun, as always, thank you very much for your insight this morning. Host of Real Ag Radio, Shaun Haney. You can learn more online at RealAgriculture.com. You can also catch him on his show. That's Real Ag Radio. That's at 4:30 Eastern each weekday afternoon, Monday through Friday on Rural Radio 147 Sirius XM. Of course, we'll chat with him again here on the Market Day Report tomorrow morning.